Welcome to Fighting Stats, the ultimate channel for UFC fans who love statistics and betting breakdowns. I'm your host, Art C, and today I'll be getting you ready for the upcoming UFC fights. Here at Fighting Stats, we have exclusive UFC stats, not available anywhere else, giving us a huge edge over the sportsbooks that help us make money long term. Here at Fighting Stats, we also track how often they throw that left jab or that right hook from southpaw, how often they're moving back, or how much time is spent in side control versus full mount. We have all of that information, but that's not it. We pair that with our tape study here. We're going to go through the fights. We're going to watch for fighters' strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, and overall strategies to help you get prepared for the upcoming UFC fights. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Fighting Stats. Welcome back to Fighting Stats. I'm your host, Art C, and today we are breaking down the UFC 316 main event between champion Merab Dvalishvilli and Sugar Sean O'Malley. This fight going down in a week or so, so we're going to get this fight broken down. We just watched the 5-round replay of UFC Noche, so we got a fresh idea of how I think this fight is going to play out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go deep into the fighting stats. I'll tell you all the stats in terms of what they say. Then I'll give you my prediction on how I think the fight is going to go, and ultimately who I think is going to win. So let's get this started here. We're going to put Sean O'Malley here on the blue side. We're going to put Merab Dvalishvilli here on the red side. Let's get into it here. So we did see from that first fight, Sean O'Malley going to have about a 5-inch height advantage and about a 4-inch reach advantage. Sean O'Malley going to be 10-2-1 in the UFC. 60% of his wins coming from KO, 40% coming from decision. Of his 2 losses there, 1 coming from KO, 1 coming from decision there as well. Merab Dvalishvilli going to be 11-2. Only 9% of his wins coming from KO, 91% of his wins coming from decision, so that's pretty telling there. And then he does have 2 losses, 1 coming from KO, 1 coming from decision there. So let's jump right into the offensive striking here. So this is the detailed striking report that we have for Sean O'Malley. He's going to be a distance striker, right? He's going to want to stand at range. 94% of his strikes going to come at a distance, only 2% in the clinch there, and only 3.6% on the ground. In terms of his target breakdown, he does go to the head at 76% of the time, goes to the body about 18% of the time, and only legs about 6% of the time. Striking accuracy, pretty good actually here at 55% head strike accuracy, 76% body strike accuracy, and 96% leg kick accuracy, so pretty good there. And in terms of his volumes, significant strikes thrown by round here, you can see it actually trends up as the fight goes on. So on average, he throws about 44 strikes in round number 1, lands about 26 of them, and round number 2 goes up to 48 thrown, landing about 30, and 61 thrown in round number 3, lands about 38, and then a little bit drop off in round number 4, 47 strikes thrown in round 4, 31 landed, 58 strikes thrown in round number 5, and 36 landed. So he does seem to strike a little bit more as the fight goes on. He does have about 6 knockdowns in total, 4 of them coming in round number 1, 1 in round number 2, and 1 in round number 3. In terms of the target breakdown against there, you can see his head strikes actually trend up just like his average strikes, 15, 22, and 28 in terms of average strikes landed to the head by round there. And then you can see the leg kicks, not a big leg kicker, only 4 strikes landed in round number 1 to the legs, about 2 on average in round number 2 and in round number 3, and then 2 and 1 into the later rounds there. So if he is going to kick the legs, it looks like it's going to be a little bit early there. So let's talk about the detailed striking here. Again, we talked about those 6 knockdowns. The last time he did knock somebody down was that Aljamain Sterling fight back in 2023. Before that, Chris Motino, he knocked down in round number 1, didn't finish him. Thomas Almeida, he knocked down in round number 1 as well, and in round number 3, and then in Eddie Wineland there. So in 6 knockdowns in total, overall significant strike accuracy of 59%. Again, not much of a leg kicker, right? In total, he has 90 leg kicks landed. Against Merab, he only landed 2 in that first fight in round number 1. Marlon Vera was the only time he really went pretty big. He went 10 of 10 in leg kicks in round number 1, and then sort of fell off into rounds 2 and 3. And then same thing with Petr Yan. He went 7 of 9 in round number 1. Again, not big of a leg kicker. You can see when he fought Aljamain Sterling, he only went 1 of 1, and Merab went 2 of 2. So sensing a pattern here against grapplers like Aljamain Sterling, Merab, he didn't pull out any leg kicks. Not that he's a huge leg kicker anyway, but against a striker like Marlon Vera, he sort of more freedom to throw kicks. Against a striker like Piotr Lian, he goes about 15 leg kicks. Against Pedro Munoz, big leg kick there. So just goes to show you again, he is sort of selective in the shots that he's doing when he is fighting somewhat of a grappler, right? So let's go over into defensive striking. Pretty good defensive numbers. So 82% of the strikes landed against. Going to be distance strikes, 13 in the clinch and 5% on the ground. 70% of the strikes absorbed are head strikes, 12% to the body and 18% to the legs. He has have historically, I think, a weakness to leg kicks. Doesn't check leg kicks very well, so 18% of those are going to the legs there. Overall, head strike defense, pretty good at 27%, right? So 55% accuracy and 27% defense, pretty good differential there. 49% to the body and 81% towards the legs. In terms of the strikes absorbed by round, it does go up. So round number one is his best round, absorbing only 13 significant strikes in round number one, 17 in rounds 2 and 3, and then pops up to 24 in rounds number 4 and drops off to 16 in round number 5. And quite surprisingly, has not been knocked down in the UFC. So that's worth noting there as well. Again, we talked about some of the leg kicks there against Merab, landing a couple of leg kicks there, at least 20 or so leg kicks. Marlon Vera going to 30 or 40 type leg kicks there. Aljamain Sterling again going 11 to 13 in round number one. Piotr Yan landed about 21 leg kicks. Pedro Munoz, he's a big leg kicker, landed about 26 leg kicks. So the leg kicks tend to be his kryptonite in terms of his striking. He has that lankier frame, right? The legs are how you can get to him without eating a right hand. So keep an eye on the leg kickers. Merab, not a huge heavy leg kicker, but he did land about 18, 10, 20, 23 leg kicks in that first round. Again, we'll talk about in terms of the breakdown how that fight went and why he chose to leg kick a lot there. So moving over to the Merab offensive striking here. He's going to be a little bit different. I think I'm going to categorize him more as a grappler, but only 58% of his strikes coming from a distance, 14% in the clinch, and 28% of his significant strikes coming from the ground there. In terms of his target breakdown, 80% towards the head, 11% towards the body, and 9% leg kicks we just talked about there. Significant strike accuracy, not the greatest, about average at 34% head strike accuracy, 65% body strike accuracy, and 87% leg kick accuracy. In terms of his output by round, it looks pretty consistent at 21 strikes landed in rounds number 1 and 2, 22 in rounds number 3, spikes up to 30 in round number 4, and then back down to 24 in rounds number 5. So about low 20s on average significant strikes landed per round, and only has one knockdown, that coming in round number 1. And then in terms of the target breakdown by round, it's pretty consistent. Head strikes landed by round, about 13 to 14 head strikes per round. Spikes up to 22 in round number 4. So again, has one UFC knockdown. That was coming by Ricky Simone in 2018. So does not have a knockdown in 7 years in the UFC. Again, I think we said 91% of his wins coming from a decision. So that's worth noting there as well, right? And then the leg kicks, we talked about it briefly about Sean O'Malley. He landed about 26 leg kicks there. Against Henry Cejudo, he landed about 10 leg kicks in a 3-round fight against Piotr. In terms of defensive striking for Merab, 79% of the strikes landed against going to be at a distance, 17 in the clinch, and 4% on the ground. His head target breakdown against 72% of the strikes landed against are towards the head, 20 towards the body, and 9% towards the leg. His head strike defense not bad at 31% head strike defense, 70% towards the leg, and 70 to the body, 85% towards the legs. And then you can see here his average strikes absorbed by round pretty good and actually drops off as the fight goes on. His round number 1 being the worst at 14 strikes absorbed in round number 1, 10 in round number 2, 9 in round number 3, up to 14 in round number 4, and 13 in round number 5. So pretty consistently good at avoiding damage there. And again, has been knocked down once, and that also came in round number 1. Who was 2? That was against Marlon Moraes. Do remember that fight? That one coming in round number 1. Merab coming back into the later rounds and finishing that fight there. So, all right. So it wouldn't be a Merab fight without going over to the grappling report. Let's move over to our Fighting Stats detailed grappling report. We're going to skip over this Sean O'Malley offensive grappling. I just don't think he looks for any takedowns here. You can see on average he's averaging zero takedowns in round 1 and 0 takedowns in round number 2. Only 0.4 takedowns in round number 3. I think he's landed 3 takedowns in round number 3. That was in his UFC debut against Tyrion Ware back in 2017. Otherwise, he's going to want to keep this fight standing. So let's move right on to the defensive grappling here for Sean O'Malley. So on average, he sees about 0.9 takedowns attempted in round number 1, allows 0.3. In round number 2, 0.6 takedowns, allows 0.7, and 0.7 again allowed in in round 3, 0.5 allowed in round 4, and 1 full takedown on average allowed in round number 5. So takedown defense numbers has been pretty good, I would say, overall in his UFC career. But let's go into the numbers in terms of who he's really fought here, right? So starting out with Merab, right? Merab gets him down 6 times in that fight. 80 seconds of control round 1, 192 seconds of control round 2, 52 seconds in round 3, 217 in round 4, and 62 in round number 5. So he did give up a bunch of control time. In rounds 2 and 4, Merab got those takedowns in the middle of the octagon, and so Sean O'Malley sort of settled there on bottom. Against Marlon Vera, Marlon Vera never attempted a takedown. Aljamain Sterling attempted 2, but he's more of a BJJ guy than a wrestler, going 0 for 2. Petr Yan got Sean O'Malley down 6 times on 13 attempts. So Petr Yan, not really a grappler, but he got Sean down 6 times there. 70 seconds of control round 1, 162 seconds in round 2, 112 of control in round number 3. So good control numbers from Petr Yan. Pedro Munoz not going to look for a takedown. Raul Palva, not really a grappler, attempted 2 takedowns. Thomas Almeida attempted 1 takedown. Marlon Vera, Eddie Wineland, Andre Sukumtat, that was one-legged. The only reason that Sukumtat got those takedowns was that Sean O'Malley was one-legged there. So he hasn't really fought real grapplers, right? Anybody that really tried to take him down, Petr Yan got him down 6 times. Merab got him down 6 times there. Aljamain's not really a wrestler, more of a BJJ guy. So that's why some of his takedown defense on paper looks pretty good. But none of these guys are really stud grapplers like a Merab here. So let's move on to the Merab offensive grappling, right? You're going to see some crazy numbers here. So on the offense for Merab, he averages on average 5.4 takedowns attempted in round number 1, actually getting successful takedowns 2 on average in round number 1, 2.3 takedowns in round number 2, 1.7 takedowns in round number 3, 1 takedown in round 4, and 3.5 takedowns in round number 5. That is successful takedowns that he's getting. Overall, some ridiculous numbers. I think he leads the UFC in terms of takedowns, some ridiculous number there. So I think that Merab is going to look for takedowns a lot here, right? You can see the control numbers never around that he's less than really 30 seconds of control. Even against Henry Cejudo, he got Henry Cejudo, who's a 2-time Olympic medalist. He got him down 5 times. 13 seconds of control round 1, 106 seconds of control round 2, 144 seconds of control round 3, right? Petr Yan has elite takedown defense. He got him down 6 times as well. Jose Aldo, that was in terms of, if you're talking about elite takedown defense, he went 0 for 16 on takedowns against Jose Aldo, but ended up winning that because of just defending the takedowns there, right? Marlon Moraes, Cody Stamen. So some of these guys have elite takedown defense, and he's still getting them down, right? So Cejudo, Petr Yan, Jose Aldo, those are some of the top when it comes to takedown defense. And then we saw against Sean O'Malley, he landed 6 of them. So I think that's going to be a big story of this fight, and I'll talk to it again when I give that fight breakdown. I'm just going to skip over the defensive grappling here for Merab. Again, I don't think that O'Malley is going to be shooting a takedown, but Merab's only allowed 5 takedowns on 26 attempts. Let's move over to our Fighting Stats time breakdown here. So we have Sean O'Malley. Of the time that we watched, 92% of his fights are going to be spent standing. 2% was defending a takedown. 2% was time in the clinch there, right? So pretty accurate. He's going to be a distance striker. When he is on bottom of the time that we taped, 84% of the time was spent in full guard, which is pretty good. 12% in half guard, and only 4% in side control. So pretty good numbers when he is on bottom. If he is getting taken down, he's at least giving you some full guard or half guard looks there. And then on the Raw side, a little bit different, right? 59% was spent standing, 17% of that time was spent on the ground, and 18% of that time was spent attacking takedowns. And then when Merab is on top, you can see here 38% of the time he's in full guard, 14% of the time he's in half guard, 5% in side control, 31% he's in back mount, and 11% he's in north-south. So a little bit of variety when he gets on top and when he gets his grappling going. Let's move over to our Fighting Stats striking tendencies here. So we can see Sean O'Malley here on the blue side, 83% single strike rate, 28% kick rate. He likes the jab at 24%. He likes the cross at 25%. All right, when his striking tendencies, right, he likes to go to the single cross, that right hand at 25%, the single jab 24%, right, and right high kick at 14%, right. So almost 50% of the time, Sean O'Malley is either popping the jab or the right hand. A lot of single strikes. When he has him hurt, then he'll pull out the combos. But again, he's going to mind his P's and Q's here. I think he's going to throw a lot of single strikes as well. Whereas on the Merab side, he has a 61% single strike rate, 27% kicking rate. His go-to weapons are his jab at 24%, the right cross at 10% of the time. 7% of the time he goes lead high kick, 6% of the time he goes rear high kick, and then 6% of the time he goes 1-2, right? So a little bit more diverse striking from Merab. Sean O'Malley will switch from orthodox to southpaw, so keep that in mind. Often switching stances quite a bit. All right, so it's time for the breakdown. Let me give you my prediction on how I think the fight is going to go. Again, we went back and we watched the first fight at UFC Noche, Merab versus Sean O'Malley. Just some Cole's notes in terms of that fight. I think Sean O'Malley was very concerned with the grappling of Merab. So he takes the center of the cage. Merab is on his bike a lot. He's doing a lot of lateral movement. He's on the warning track while moving side to side. Merab is staying in kicking range. He's not entering the pocket. He's either all the way out or all the way in. So he's out in kicking range. That's what we talked about, the leg kicks. When he's outside in kicking range, the only weapons that you really have are the low kicks or are the leg kicks. So Merab is going to try to throw a couple of leg kicks. Sean O'Malley, again, he's concerned with the takedowns coming back his way. So Sean O'Malley is unable to sit down on any of his punches, right? He's not able to extend combos, 1, 2, 3, anything like that, because he's afraid. Anytime he sits down and plants his feet on a combo, Merab's going to level change, get it to his legs, and get him taken down, right? In addition, because of the threat of the takedown, Sean O'Malley cannot kick anymore. So we didn't see many kicks from Sean O'Malley in that fight because, again, he's worried about getting the kick caught. Any kind of low kicks to the body, one kick caught, and then it gives Merab the takedown. So Sean O'Malley was very limited in terms of the strikes that he could throw. Again, no long combos, no real kicks. He's really only limited to his jab, the right cross that we just talked about. 50% of the time he's throwing those strikes, right? And in the first fight there, he continued to go to the body. Sean O'Malley continued to level change, throw the right hand to the body. It was landing, but it wasn't doing a ton of damage, right? And he wasn't really spinning too much. He wasn't mixing in any kind of flying knees, spinning back kicks, anything like that. Sean O'Malley was very concerned with the takedowns, did very bread and butter twos to the body, things like that. And then Merab still was able to stay on the outside, circle lateral movement. And then when he did enter, Merab would often throw the right hand from orthodox, the overhand right. So Sean O'Malley has to cover up with a high guard. And then Merab ducks under. He grabs a single leg with the left leg and then immediately gets Sean O'Malley down. From the tape, you can go back and watch it. I broke it down there. Sean O'Malley's takedown defense did not look great in that fight. I found that the takedowns came almost too easy. As soon as Merab got the leg, turned the corner, Sean O'Malley was down on his back. He was lucky enough in round number 1 that he got the takedowns back up against the fence. Sean O'Malley uses the fence to wall walk his way back up and get back up to his feet. But in rounds number 2 and rounds number 4, Merab got those takedowns in the middle of the octagon. He pulled O'Malley in, level change, got the takedown, again, either single leg or double leg, gets him down to the mat in the middle of the octagon. When he's at the middle of the octagon, Sean O'Malley struggled to get back up to his feet. He tried to shrimp a little bit. Merab does a good job of taking away the post, flattening him back out. Sean O'Malley had to scoot his way back up to his fence. And we saw this position a lot where Sean O'Malley was on one knee up against the fence. Merab was laying on his back and then just attacking some knees to the thigh, knees to the back. As soon as Sean O'Malley would try to get back up to his feet, Merab would throw some more knees to the head, so then Sean O'Malley would have to duck down. We saw that position 3 or 4 times throughout the fight, and it just wears on Sean trying to get the cardio, right? You have somebody on your back, throwing knees at your legs, throwing knees to your body, and then you're trying to get back up, and every time you get back up, you eat a knee to the face. So that was sort of rinse and repeat for 5 rounds. Sean O'Malley did have some success in round number 3, stopping the grappling. Merab wasn't able to get the takedown in round number 3, and I think that's the round he won. And I think he may have won round number 5 as well, just because Merab was on his bike a little bit more. But the judges' scorecards, I think, were 48, 48, 47, 49, 46. It seems like it was a closer fight than it was, but it wasn't. I think that Merab really ran away with it. He took round 5 off because he knew he was up on the scorecards, so gave that round away. So again, Merab continued to dominate the grappling, got Sean O'Malley down at will, and then on the feet there, Sean O'Malley was very hesitant to throw anything, throw any big combos, things like that. So the only real success that Sean O'Malley started to have was late into round 5, maybe about 90 seconds left. Sean O'Malley throws this front teep kick that hits Merab in the belly. Because again, Merab's on the outside, he's circling, he's keeping the high guard every time he circles off because he doesn't want to get head kicked, so he's keeping the high guard when he circles off the fence. It does expose the body a little bit. Sean O'Malley started to go to the body with the body kicks, and it started wearing on Merab. Merab didn't like it. He tried to shoot for a takedown with a minute left. It controlled some grappling. And then Sean visibly saw that Merab was hurt in round number 5 and continued to go to the body with the right hand to the body, teeps to the body, things like that. So all of that to say, what is the game plan, or how does this fight look different than the first fight, right? So it's only going to be 9 or so months since that last fight. What can you really change if you're Sean O'Malley? What are you going to change if you're Merab Dvalishvilli here? So starting with the Merab side, he's the champion. He won that first fight pretty clearly. I don't think he needs to change much. So I don't think you're going to see a new Merab. He's going to look like Bilal and come out and try to strike with Sean. I think for as crazy that Merab can be sometimes, I think he's going to come up with a smart game plan. I think you're going to see a lot of the same stuff where it's Merab on the outside. He can keep that pace for 5 rounds easy. He's going to have a lot of movements, lateral movement on the outside. And again, he's going to be all the way out or all the way in. He's not going to risk standing and trading in the pocket with Sean O'Malley. That is a death note. That's not what you want to do. So he's going to be all the way out. He's going to feint. There's going to be a lot of level changes, things like that. So he's going to throw these leg kicks. He's going to fake the overhand, things like that. But he's not going to really do much damage. He's not going to knock out Sean O'Malley on the feet unless Sean O'Malley's so concerned with the takedowns that he drops his hand and then Merab comes back over top with an overhand right. That's the only way I can really see Merab landing a KO punch here. So I think Merab does a lot of the same things, stays on the outside, works the takedowns, level changes. Anytime Sean O'Malley comes forward, he's going to try to level change, gets that takedown, or he's going to try to bait him with the takedowns, things like that. So I don't think much changes on the Merab side. Whereas on the Sean O'Malley side, if you go back and watch the tape, I do not think he can play the same game plan. And the only real success that he had was in round 3, he landed a 1-2 that Merab ate clean and continued to come forward. And then in round 5, he started to land these teep kicks with about 90 seconds left, and it really hurt Merab. So if I'm the corner of Sean O'Malley, that's probably what I do coming out right out the gate, is establish the body work. He was finding some success. Sean O'Malley was throwing the right hand to the body, the front kick to the body. So I can see that wearing him down, right? I think Sean O'Malley tries to maybe be on the front foot a little bit more. They talk about it all the time, how it's a lot harder for grapplers to shoot for the takedown off the back foot. So if I'm Sean O'Malley, I'm going to be on the front foot, pressuring, keeping the hands low, a lot of things tucked inside, maybe more uppercuts up the middle, so that I have my underhooks in order in case Merab tries to shoot. A couple of knees up the middle. The problem is with the knees, you have to time the knee perfectly coming in, right? And if you don't get the knee, you pretty much give Merab the takedown. You throw the knee, you have only one foot on the ground. If you don't land the knee, then you're taken down, you lose the round, right? So it's sort of risk-reward. I don't know if he's going to throw a ton of knees, but I think you're okay with throwing uppercuts up the middle. I think you're okay with throwing teeps up the middle. But I think, again, Merab's going to be trying to catch the kick. So look for Merab to try to catch the kick, maybe land on the break, things like that. I think the front teep kick, though, from Sean O'Malley is going to be a big weapon in this fight, so look for him to go to that early and often. And then success rate, right, again, Sean O'Malley is going to often look for that pull right hand counter. He likes to step back, throw the right hand, which he landed against Aljo. He's going to continue to look for that. It's just Merab doesn't sit down in the pocket in front of him, so it's very hard for him to find that, right? So he might throw some more head kicks, high kicks, but I do think that he does know the one time he sat down on a 1-2, he got level changed on and taken down. So again, I don't think that changes. I think you're going to see a lot of single strikes for Sean O'Malley. He's not going to load up on anything big, especially early. I think the only thing that really changes is the forward pressure of Sean O'Malley and maybe the front kick of Sean O'Malley, and then trying to keep that space. But I think at some point Merab's going to find that takedown. The takedowns came so easy that I don't think that 8 months of Sean O'Malley training is going to change that. Sean O'Malley's on social media, a lot of doing all that stuff. So obviously the game plan or the camp's going to be focused on takedown defense. That's safe to assume, but I just don't think he's at that level to really stop the takedowns of Merab. So I do think that this fight plays out very similar to the first fight. Again, Merab doesn't have the KO power on the feet. He's not much of a submission guy. He'll go for those front guillotines. He had a guillotine in round 1. He was pretty close to getting. He tried to get a guillotine again in round number 3. I think Sean O'Malley's pretty smart with the guillotine. He's not going to get choked out front choke, and then Merab's not going to have arm bars or whatnot. He maybe gets a rear naked choke, but even that I don't really see. So I don't think Merab has a ton of submission equity. His KO equity is an overhand right on a timed takedown. Otherwise, I think most of his win equity is tied to a decision for Merab. Whereas on the Sean O'Malley side, again, he's going to have to take some more risks. He's going to have to throw knees up the middle, big power punches. But I want to say Sean O'Malley has 60% of his wins by KO, but he's not really a power puncher. He doesn't have one punch KO power. I think most of his KOs or his power that he is more timing, more speed, more accuracy sort of thing, where he catches you coming in, and so it's like double the impact when you're coming in and he throws a right hand counter, or he sort of swarms you with volume where it's 1-2 and gets a referee TKO. He doesn't have that one punch KO power, and we saw him land his biggest punch. He went 1-2, landed on Merab clean, and Merab continued to eat it and come forward. So I think the KO equity of Sean O'Malley is pretty low. You're limited to a jumping knee up the middle, maybe a well-timed uppercut, but even then we've seen Merab eat some big-ass shots, so I don't know if the KO comes too easy. And then off of his back, a submission win for Sean O'Malley's never going to grapple and be on top, so you're never going to see arm triangles. You're not going to see really rear naked chokes. A submission for O'Malley has to be like an arm bar or a triangle really from bottom, maybe a heel hook, but even that's very low. So the KO equity is low for Sean O'Malley. The submission's low for Sean O'Malley. I think this fight probably plays out very similar to the first fight. I think Merab probably wins a decision in this fight, but I know the line's flipped. The first time we bet Merab, he was plus 140-ish. I got him at a good plus money number. Now he's minus 300, right? So the odds dictate where you want to bet. And for those that have been following or don't really know, let me pull this up. And this is a big... Merab's always going to Merab and find some way to do something crazier. So this is a video here of Merab on Instagram. This was maybe a couple of days ago. So I just wanted to show you here because this is Merab talking. Here. He points to his sparring partner and he broke his pinky toe. You can see it bent, right? And not looking good. That's probably right after it happens. Merab says he's going to cut it off. Everybody's looking at it, pretty concerned. His sparring partner says he threw a kick and he broke his toe on the thing. So I know Merab's all smiles here, but a broken toe, especially the pinky toe, is pretty significant because, one, it probably takes you away from any cardio in the next 2 weeks. It could affect the weight cut because you don't have that sort of ability to just go out for a run. Maybe now you're on the bike and taking sauna and stuff like that, right? I'm not too concerned with Merab's cardio to begin with, but I do think that it can play a factor. And I think the balance on the toe, a lot of the shots come off of that bounce on the toe. So it'd be interesting to see how much of an impact this has. Going into the Umar fight, Merab had a big gash on his leg as well. I thought that it might take place because Umar likes to kick. I thought Umar might have kicked that leg, but again, that big cut on Merab's leg before that fight really didn't come into a factor. He still ended up winning that fight. So just Merab has a way of just, you feel that you're confident, and then something like this comes along and you're like, man, he could look completely different if he doesn't have the ability to bounce up around. He could look different if he hasn't been able to run cardio in the next 2 weeks, right? So it's always an X factor with Merab. You never know, and it sort of holds me from really betting on Merab pretty heavily here because I don't really know what he's going to look like, how this is really impacting him. Obviously, Sean O'Malley's going to come in with a different game plan, right? But again, because the turnaround time is so low, I don't know what changes that Sean O'Malley can really do. It wasn't like Sean O'Malley was winning and then he got subbed out. Something like a Shevchenko versus Grasso, where I'm on the Shevchenko side all the time, even though she keeps on losing. So this one goes back to it. I like Merab. I think he's going to win by decision. This whole toe thing is a little bit weird, but I do think there are ways for Sean O'Malley to come back and make this interesting. I do think that the game plan will shift a little bit. I don't think Merab has to switch his game plan at all. So it's going to be a very interesting fight. I know I talked a while about this, but let me know in your comments below if you sort of agree with it. Maybe I'm not thinking about something, but I went back and watched all the fight tape. I went back and looked at the stats there. So let me know in the comments below if you like these type of breakdowns. I know they're super long and they can be pretty boring, but if you're a hardcore fan like me and you like to go through the tape study, you know how good this content is because I'm going into all of the X's and O's. You're not going to get this type of detail anywhere else. So drop a like and follow if you like this type of content. Let me know. It gets me keep on going. Otherwise, I I post all of our plays over to patreon.com/fightingstats. We're on an absolute tear so far. I'm up over $100,000 this year betting on UFC. We're only still into May, so we're absolutely killing it, and that's because we do our homework. We watch the tape, we look into the fight stats. We have exclusive UFC stats not available anywhere else. It helps me like a ton when it comes to betting, especially betting props. So give us a follow there. You can join for free at patreon.com/fightingstats. And as always, my name is Artsy, and this is Fighting Stats. Thanks for watching. Well, that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Artsy. If you like this type of content, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe. You'll get notified anytime we put out new content. In 2024, we are up over 118 units. That's $58,000 at $500 units. We are using our exclusive UFC stats, not available anywhere else. I'm telling you, it gives us a huge edge over our competition, helps us make money long term. So come join us today, patreon.com/fightingstats. That's where we put all of our bets, our best bets, our shoot for the moon parlays. You can visit us also on our website, fightingstats.com, for all of our stats there. We have a lot of new tools coming out. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching.